What's up, wild ones? I am an unapologetic wrestling fan. I don't care who knows it. It doesn't bother me. So when I was moving into the tiny house, I knew I had to take my most prized possession. And I need to give this thing the display it deserves. So today I'm going to show you how to build a display box for my World Championship. Oh my God, look at it. Signed by Bret the Hitman Hart, Daniel Bryan, and Paul Heyman. This baby has got to be front and center. So today we're doing a beautiful display case on Wild Rose DIY. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut my long pieces down to desired length, which in our case is, I'm going to say we're going to go 52 inches. Next, I'm just going to rip these down to 4 inches. So we got our pieces all cut. Now we're just going to start putting this thing together. So I got this jig here that will hold the corners together very nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. So we're going to have the shorter pieces on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this up. That didn't work at all. Normally, brad nails would have been just fine for an application like this. This box isn't really taking any weight. It's just to kind of keep everything together. But the boards I'm using are a little bit warped, and so I'm not getting as good a contact in here with the glue as I'd like, so I'm just going to use some pocket holes instead. Much better. There you can see where the glue is really catching there, so I think this will work out a lot better. So if these pocket holes were on the back side or you weren't going to see them, I wouldn't bother covering them up. Since they're going to be very visible for this display box, I'm going to fill them in with a little 3/8 dowel. So we're just going to put a little glue in there, this dowel right down in there, and then just cut it with our flush cut. So then we'll fill in the other hole, and then we can just sand that flat, and it'll look really good. After you get all the dowel sanded down, you might as well just sand it again. Now that the main box is sanded up, we're gonna make the lid for it to cover. So I've got some acrylic plexiglass that I'm gonna use. It was extremely expensive. I recommend trying to find some used if you can. So what we're going to do is we're just going to measure up and figure out a frame for this guy. So we're going to go 53.5 by 15.5. And I think I'm going to go I'm going to make it about 2 inches, just so I have enough meat to get some pocket holes into in the corners. So let's rip some wood. Okay, so now that we got our frame pieces all ripped down to 2 inches, I'm going to cut some 45-degree miters on here. We are just gonna take it, rip it down right near the corner so we waist line. So now we gotta go 53.5 from the outside corner to outside corner. So 53.5 to there. And we want to make the exact opposite 45 degree cut. So I like to just mark mine out. I like to draw it out so I know what I'm doing here. Don't make the mistake of move the chop saw back to 45. And our side pieces will cut down to 15.5. So I'll just use the offcuts from the other pieces so we're not wasting anything. Now we can dry fit these together and see how our frame looks. We've got our frame all rough fit here. I think it's going to be pretty good. It looks like the board itself is out a little bit. So when we put the back on, that'll tighten it right up. So now I can go ahead. I'm going to cut a dado right down the center of this. And I'm going to make sure it's big enough for my piece of Lexan, and then I'm going to cut my Lexan to size. And then I'm going to slide that in, and I'm going to build the frame around that. So this next technique we're going to use isn't exactly the safest things you can do. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our fence nice and close, preferably right about in the middle of the blade and the meat of the wood here. And then we're going to set our blade nice and low so we just get about less than a ½ inch or so of cut down the middle. We're going to do that with all our pieces. And we're going to slide the fence over a bit and just repeat until we have enough room to get our Lexan. So I got my Craig jig clamped on the end of this piece, so it's a little tricky to line up your pocket holes properly, so I'm going to use the center one. And for 3/4 inch material like we're using, I noticed on the actual jig it's about 1/4 inch back, so I'm about that far back, I'd say. So we're going to try. We didn't come out that end, which is what we want, so that's perfect. I think this might have worked out. So it was at this point I realized I lost the footage of me cutting out the plexiglass. All I did was measured it out and used a fine-tooth saw blade on my circular saw to do the cutting, and that seemed to do the trick. So I probably should have went long ways to slide this piece in, but I don't know. It should work out this way too. This is going to be the most nerve-wracking, second most nerve-wracking part of the build. A little short. See how it goes when it's all together here. Okay, I got that side in now, which was no easy task, but now we got this all glued and clamped. So the glue dry and then we can stain it. Now I got my display case all prepped up here. Just taped a bunch of newspaper to it so we can start the stain process. I'm just going to wipe it down, get rid of all the sawdust, and then we can get our wood conditioner on. Okay, before we can stain, we got to use a little bit of this wood conditioner. And what that's going to do is it's just going to soak right up into the wood. And it'll just make our stain go on nice and even. No blotchy spots or anything. So just take a little dab of that. Wipe it on. Make sure we get the edges. Okay, once that's soaked in for about 10 minutes or so, then we can go ahead and wipe off any excess areas that you see. And then we can start staining. We've also done the same thing on the case of the box. Don't think we forgot about that. Now we're ready for our stain. I'm going to use this dark walnut from Varathane because basically everything else in my tiny house is this color. So I'm just going to glob on here. So after we've let this soak in for a couple minutes, then we're just going to go ahead and wipe off all the excess, and then we're going to let this dry for 2 hours, and then we can throw on another coat. Now we got 2 coats of stain on this bad boy. Let it dry overnight, and I think we're going to just finish it off with some of this spray-on lacquer. So let's give that a go, see how it turns out. So for the back of the display case, I'm just going to use a little bit of 1/2-inch OSB I have laying around. It's really cheap, and basically it just has to hold on to the herringbone pattern for us. We're going to rip it down to size, and then we're going to knock a couple of pocket holes in the back, and then we'll attach it to the display box that way. So we got our herringbone pieces pretty roughly fit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right in the middle, and I'm just gonna put a little glue down, and then we're just gonna brad nail it in and keep it all together. So I got the center all done, and then when you're doing any kind of herringbone, just take your pieces and lay them out. And I've got some that have kind of this bluish color, so I'm just gonna kind of lay those in between and see what looks nice. Once you have the layout that you're happy with, then you can go ahead and just start gluing it down and brad nailing it in. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and just cut off all the excess. There was no point to cutting it all down first. It's just way easier this way. So we're just gonna follow the line of the plywood, and then that should give us a nice smooth edge. Now I'm just gonna use a little wood filler to fill in all these little brad nail holes. So now that all the holes are all filled on the front side, I'm gonna let that dry and sand it down. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put a bunch of pocket holes in the back to attach to our display case. Now our wood filler's all dry, so we're just gonna give this thing a light sanding. I'm not gonna go too crazy because, I mean, nobody's really gonna be touching this. Clean it up a bit and make it look good. Get rid of any pencil marks or anything like that. Okay, this is all sanded down, so I'm just gonna hit it with a little coat of this lacquer that I've been using. It's super easy to put on, and you just give it a little light sanding in between coats, and it's super smooth. So, okay, so we are ready to put the backing in to our display case. So I'm not entirely sure the best way to do this, but I just got this clamp down, so I'm just gonna try to slide it in this way. Perfect. Okay, so we got the cover clamped down. So now I'm just gonna throw some of these little hinges on, 8 inches or so.
I got these hooks in the storage section at Home Depot and figured they'd work just as well. And I used a drill bit that was just a little bit smaller to drill pilot holes into the wood. Then I used the same sawtooth hangers from the air build to go on the back of the display case. I measured out where the studs were going to be on the wall and placed the sawtooth hangers accordingly. Then I just drilled some holes in the studs using my laser and muscled the thing up there. Struggling. There, nailed it. Just gotta put the title in. This baby's done. Good work, buddy.
Alright guys, we did it. We finished it. We got another awesome project all finished up in the tiny house here. I'm really excited about how it turned out. If you guys like this, or you're wrestling fans, you got friends who are wrestling fans, they're probably awesome people, first of all. Second of all, send this their way. Maybe they'll want to build one for themselves. Who knows? Maybe grandma wants one. I don't know. But make sure you slam that like button, pile drive that subscribe button. Like, share, comment, let me know if you like what I'm doing or if I should just stop while I'm ahead or behind, whichever. But either way, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, it means everything to me. And I hope we'll see you on the next video on Wild Rose DIY.